I want to welcome you guys to part one of a three-part series on buying ham radios. Today's discussion will be about HTs or handy talkies, whichever your preference. And these are my picks for the top HTs right now on ham radio for non-techies. Okay, so in this series, this is part one of a three-part series about purchasing ham radios. The first one here is going to be about HTs or handy talkies. So let's jump right into it here. When you're looking at buying an HT radio, you want to look at price point, but you also want to look at features and stuff like that. My suggestion is buy as much radio as you can afford now. If you go and buy the cheapest bottom-of-the-barrel thing, you're going to grow out of it in 1 or 2 months, be bored. There are what I call disposable radios, and I'm going to show you a couple of those here. And there are some better radios you can get that you will have a much better time with. And I've got a few here I'm going to show you today. With price point, you know, you can get into an entry-level radio for like 50 bucks, maybe 30 bucks. But my problem with those radios is they're just so cheap. Now, if you want a disposable radio where if you drop it, break it, falls in a lake, gets run over, whatever, and you don't care so much, go ahead, buy a couple of those to have as disposable radios. But, you know, money isn't growing on trees for most of us. So I want to make sure if you're going to buy a decent radio, spend as much as you can afford now and get a radio you can grow into as opposed to buying the bottom of the barrel. I want to look at a couple other little things like accessories. A lot of these radios, they come with the, you know, standard little rubber duck antenna. And then one of the first things you're going to want to do is upgrade the antenna. So keep that in mind in your budget as well. The antennas run about $20, $25. It's not a big deal, but the performance you'll get out of that antenna and the fact that it'll be reusable on multiple radios is a good bargain for you. You also want to look at things like backup batteries. You know, a lot of these come with decent sized batteries, but some of the ones that don't, you want to look at what the accessory is going to cost. Like when I bought my Yaesu, you know, it's a great radio. It's an expensive radio, but then the batteries for it are also very expensive. As opposed to my Wushun, batteries for that I think like $20, $25. It wasn't a big deal on spare batteries for that particular model. Let's jump into the reviews here. And what I did is down below this video there are links to mykit.com, and I have all the links, all the radios we're going to be looking at today. So with that, why don't we hop over to my desktop and check out the kit that I created for you guys. All right, first of all, the first radio up for your consideration is the Yaesu FT4XR. This radio is dual band, and most of the radios we're going to talk about today are dual band. I have two that are tri-band, but the rest are all going to be dual band. Works on 5 watts, has 3 transmit power settings of 5 watts, 2.5 watts, and half a watt, and offers up to 15 hours of use on the battery. Yaesu's have been a very well-known brand name for radios. This radio will be really good for you if you want it, not entry level, but just something a little bit above entry level. This would be a great radio for you to start with. So we click on the link. So go over here to ham radio outlet. This radio is $89.95. And like I said, it is dual band, and it has a 3.5 hour rapid charger, which is included. And I think it has 200 memory channel capacity. So it's a good radio for you. It's not the bottom of the barrel like some of the other Chinese radios, but it's not so expensive that it breaks the bank. It'll be a decent radio for you to have. It'll at least get you going in the hobby. So with that, let's go to the next radio. I'm not going to spend too much time going through all the details on each radio. I just want you to kind of see my picks. I'll give like the high points of what I think is worth your time, worth your consideration, and worth your money. The next one is going to be the Wushun, and that's the KG UV8D Plus. Now, what makes this a plus? It's plus because it comes with a much larger battery than the original KG UV8D. And I actually have this radio here, and this is, let's just go ahead and switch back to my other screen real quick. This is my Wushun. Now, I did an upgrade on the antenna, which I suggest for any of these HTs you get, upgrade the antenna to a higher gain antenna. It's going to serve you well, and it's going to be worth your time with the performance you're going to get out of it for what it costs. And these antennas run about $25. What I like about this one, I'm going to turn it on real quick for you here. What I like about this is it does have somewhat of a color screen, and you can kind of see in there, you can switch back and forth by clicking the little AB channel, depending on which one you want. If you want to be on the top channel, you can transmit there, or you can click the little button and you can transmit on a different channel down below. Really easy to use. There are 53 or 54 settings you can mess with to set the radio up how you want it, or according to what your repeater requires for you to transmit on it. It's a solid radio, guys. It feels really good in the hand. It doesn't feel cheap. You know, I've dropped this thing a couple times already, and it's just been a really good radio for me to use. I used to carry this thing around all the time, and I still do on occasion. I've got one in my truck now. If I'm going out away from the truck, going out in the woods or something like that, I'll have this, or I'll have my my Yaesu, which we'll talk about shortly. But it's a good, solid radio. It's definitely way above the entry level of the Chinese radios that are out there. Wushun has been very good with their quality. Their quality control is really good, and I've had no problems with this radio. So if you want to get one of these, then you want to click on their little link over here, over at buy2wayradios.com. Now these run $109.99, 2600 milliamp hour battery. It does pick up FM, and it has 999 memory channels that you can program into it with the software, which I think you can get from them for free. The only thing you have to purchase is the cable, which you can get the cable from these guys as well. Like I said, it does 2 meter and 70 centimeter, and if you get the upgraded antenna, that will also be for both those bands as well. It's just a really, really good radio. I can leave it on all day long, turn it off at night, turn it on the next day, have it on all day long, and go 3 days like that. Obviously, if you're transmitting, you're going to be using more power. It will last you a long time between charges, but it's dependent upon your usage. Okay, so now let's move on to an accessory that's a really nice necessity to have with this radio, aside from the antenna upgrade. And that's going to be the car charger and battery eliminator. This is a fantastic little thing to have. If you're going to be going on long trips, you don't want to be dragging down your battery the whole time. You plug this thing into your cigarette lighter, you jack it into the back of the radio, and you can use the radio as if it was running on battery alone. That way you can save your batteries when you're away from the car. This allows you to have an extra option for using that radio if you do not have a mobile rig in your vehicle. Let's go down. The next one is going to be the upgrade to the KV-UV8D+, which is the UV9P. The 9P is really the same radio with a couple added features. The 9P, running $149.99, has 7 band reception frequencies you can pick up other transmissions on. I think it does include the air band as well. It does pick up 144 to 148 and 420 to 450, which is what you can transmit and receive on, but you can also receive those on those additional bands as well. This one also comes with, I believe, yeah, it comes with 999 memory channels and 3200 milliamp hour battery, and it runs on 7 watts and 8 watts. So it's a little bit more powerful of a radio, but those are the only differences. Now, if you don't need the extra power, or you don't need to hear those extra additional 7 bands that it picks up for receive, save the $50, go with the UV8D+. I've got one here. I've got 2 here. I bought one for me and one for my wife, because she's taking her technician test as well. I wanted her to have a decent first radio. And, you know, these were great. They're still great. I still use them every day. Going back into here, the next radio, I do not have this one here, but these come highly recommended by a lot of people. The main thing about these radios is they're loud. You crank the volume up on these things, they are loud. So the Bridgecom D878UV, and we'll just pop over to their site. Now, this is a little bit higher up on the food chain as far as cost goes. You're now at $208.99 for this radio, but you get a lot of stuff with it. They really want you to be a customer over at Bridgecom. So their radios, they not only make a quality radio, but they'll pack it. They'll throw in all these extra things in here that you get when you buy one of these radios. And one of the cool things, it comes with a 3100 milliamp hour battery. They boast up to a 35-hour lifespan per charge, depending again on your usage. Here's what kills me. 4,000 memory channels. This thing can hold 4,000 memory channels in the system. 7 watts on VHF and down to 0.2 watts, and 6 watts on UHF down to 0.2. So Bridgecom systems, the D878UV might be worth checking out if that's something, if the features on this are something that matches you what you want and the price matches your budget. You can't really go wrong with it. It does have a color screen. It is not a touch screen, but it is a good radio. It's a solid radio, and they've been around for a while. They got good radios. All right, moving on. We now come up to the next radio, which is the Yaesu FT3DR. And I actually do have this radio here. And the first thing I did is I recommend you guys. I'm not going to recommend something if I don't do it myself. I upgraded it with the SMA to BNC connector, so I can use the BNC connected antennas. This one is a touch screen, and I will turn it on for you here so you can check it out. This does have a touch screen on it, and let's just pop back over so you can get a better picture here. I want to do it in the small cam. This one here does have a touch screen. You can just push and switch over channels and transmit there, or switch back and go back to the other channel. This one does have built-in GPS. It also has APRS built in if you want to do APRS work. The touch screen is really nice. It has a lot of features. This one, the main features on this one are going to be, it is dual band receive. Yeah, and you can also, by that, what I mean is you can listen on this channel and listen on this channel at the same time, depending on how you have your volume set. I can set the volume for this one. Let's see if I can get it to go up there a little bit. Oh, no, I'm turning the wrong dial. So yeah, you can raise the volume on that. Then I go down to here, and I can raise the volume on this one as well. So, fantastic radio. This is probably what I would consider for the price point. This is probably a top-of-the-line rig. You will need to get the custom software to program this if you want to have a much easier time and less stressful time programming it. But once you get that in the cable, you're off to the races with that. So let's take a look at this radio in depth a little bit. And let me go back over to my other cam. So this radio retails for $389.95. And like I said, this is a price point that's going to put you in a much higher end radio. If you're just now getting in, you just got your technician license, you're getting into radio. If you can afford this, I absolutely recommend getting one of these. It's something you're going to grow into. It's something that's going to, work with you as you learn more about ham radio. And it's packed with all kinds of features. Whether you use them all now or not, you will eventually. If you're looking into getting into APRS and stuff like that, this is going to be a fantastic thing for you. I think all the Yaesu radios, especially this one, also does Wires X. So you can go into a Wires X with this thing if you have a Wires X repeater somewhere nearby. I don't think there's anything else here that I'm going to see that I didn't talk about, except, okay, well, you can put a micro SD card. Use a micro SD card. You can actually do voice recording, as you see here, as a voice recording function with the SD card. And there's also something on here I saw about you can take pictures. Snapshot feature. So with an additional accessory, you can get a handheld microphone that actually takes pictures you can send through APRS. So that's kind of a cool feature there. It does come with a 2200 milliamp hour battery, and I say again, this one I've had on. I can have to keep this on for quite a few days, off and on, without recharging it, and it lasts quite a while. Now, one thing I do like with these guys, let's pop down here. They do offer you the extra speaker mics and other accessories that fit this, along with antenna adapters. There's all kinds of accessories that they have right here on the page. You can see exactly what fits this radio, and go ahead and purchase those things. I did pick up this here, which was $48. That was the cable with the software. It's worth having because everything's ready, and this software is designed for this particular model radio. So that's worth getting into if you want to program your own radio easily and without a lot of stress. Okay, the next radio we're going to go over and look at, and this is probably the biggest, most expensive one, is the Kenwood D74A. This one is the top of the line radio. It is the first of the tri-band radios we're going to be looking at today. And again, this one's really expensive, but it's got some cool features that if you're into these if you want these features in a radio, this might be worth getting into. Let's go ahead and take a look at it here. Now, the price point on this one is $729.95. That is expensive for a radio, guys. I mean, for that kind of money, you could probably pick up a decent mobile rig and an antenna and all the accessories you need to have something in your vehicle. But if you're on the market for it and for some reason you're really into Kenwood, you want to spend the money on it, this is a top of the line radio as well. And because it does tri-band, it gives you extra features. It also comes with D-Star and PROII. So this one here, let's see if I got any extra notes on that. 5 watts. It is a color screen, but it is not a touch screen like the Yaesu. So if I had a choice between this one or the Yaesu, I'd probably go with the Yaesu over this one. One, because of price point. That's a lot of money for a radio, and I want the best bang for the buck. You know, $429 versus $389. You got to make that decision on your own. But I think that it's a good radio, and people that own them love them. We're going to go back to the list once again. Now, before I touch on the last radio, I did talk to you guys about, I talked about this in a previous video when I did the review on the FT3DR. When you get any of these radios, they come with like the SMA connectors. The SMA connectors do have a limited life. If you're taking antennas on and off constantly, you're going to wear out the threads and wear out that connector. So the way around that is to pick up these BNC to S or SMA to BNC adapters like this. They go pick up BNC antennas that just go right onto the radio. I can never get these things on when I'm doing a live. They pop on the radio, transferable across all your radios, and these antennas will work on all the radios we've shown you here today. So it's worth checking into, and to protect and prolong the usage of your radio, go ahead and get some of these adapters and get them on your radios. The next thing is going to be, of course, the Diamond Dots RH77CA antenna. I've got 2 of these right now. I'm probably going to get a third one because I got to get one. I actually bought one for my wife already. Don't need it. But I'm going to get some more as I get more HT radios. They are really, really good antennas to have. They're much better than the stock antennas. They're high gain, and the difference is pretty noticeable between the antennas that come with these radios a lot of times and adding this upgrade to it. And at $24.99, get them on Amazon. It's worth having. I recommend them if you want to have the best audio, and at the price you're getting a really good you're getting a really good quality for the price. Hey, if you're getting good information, finding value in my videos, please consider giving me a thumbs up. This helps out with the YouTube algorithm and puts my video in front of other people that are interested in ham radio as well. If you would also please consider subscribing to this channel by clicking the subscribe button and hitting the little bell on the side there. That will notify you whenever new videos come up on this channel. Thank you very much. So let's move on to the final radio in our series here. And this is one I wasn't really going to add because I had a friend of mine, I went over to his house and he went and bought a whole bunch of these little UV5RS Baofengs. And I was impressed by them at first until I got it home and tried it out. And I turned it on, and depending on where I am in the room here, if I'm outside, I have to turn it a certain way. It just has really lousy reception. I'm only about 5 or 6 miles from the repeater. This is what I call a disposable radio. You buy these things in a 6-pack. I think they come with a hat and a free bowl of soup. But if you want a disposable radio and you have, your budget doesn't allow for you to have the higher end ones we talked about, and you can't wait. I mean, patience really is a key here. If you can wait an extra week or 2 to get the extra money you need to get the better radio, I really, really suggest doing that. This radio is okay for disposable. If something happened to it, if I dropped it, broke it, caught it on fire, the dog chews it up, I wouldn't be as upset as it would be if one of the other radios I've got here. They don't feel that great. I mean, it feels really cheap. I mean, it's disposable. But with having saying that, there's a company out called Baofeng Tech. They're here in the United States. I think they're out of North Carolina. And they take these radios, the UV5Rs, and they turn them into UV5x3s. So that would be this radio here. Now, the link I've got here on mykit.com goes to Amazon, because Amazon, for an extra $10, I think it's $69 for the radio, you get 1 day shipping if you have Prime. If that doesn't matter to you, you can go over to baofengtech.com and pick this up for $59.89 and whatever they're going to charge for shipping. Now, with these radios, what they do is they take the Baofengs and they upgrade them. Now, this radio is the same one you're seeing on the screen. This is a dual bander. Dual band radio, does 2 meter and 70 centimeter. The one you're seeing on the screen here, they've actually upgraded to a tri-band. The thing comes with 2 antennas, one for UHF, one for VHF, which I think is kind of dumb. I don't know why they wouldn't just give you a dual band antenna. You can get these upgraded batteries, which are 3,800 milliamp hour batteries, and it actually makes these things a lot bigger. It actually adds probably about that much space, or that much to the end of the radio, and bulks it out a little bit towards on the backside. But it gives you a lot more usage time by getting that radio up, or that battery upgrade. And of course, they do have the Nagoya 320A antennas, which are also very good. I just prefer diamond. The diamonds have been fantastic so far, but a lot of people speak highly of the Nagoyas. And for $94, you can get all 3 of those things, or like I said, for $58 or $59, you can pick up the radio by itself. This has 128 memory channels, and the power output is 5 watts on VHF and 4 watts on 1.25 meter, and UHF, and the lowest power is down to 1 watt. So if you had to get a radio, if you don't want to spend or don't want to save up the extra $30-40 to get the UV8D Plus, grab one of these. They have a decent warranty with them. The company that refurbishes, they upgrade them here in the States. You can call up and talk to, and they'll be willing to help you out with anything you need. But honestly, guys, if you're really looking for getting into a radio, you're going to outgrow this, especially as a technician or whatever. You're going to outgrow this like a month or so, and you'll be looking for something better. So it'd be better just to go ahead and grab the radio you want instead of settling for second best now just because you can get it now. Okay, so with that, I think that kind of wraps up what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. And I hope that it was informative. I hope I helped you out a little bit in making a decision. Again, buy as much radio as you can afford now. Get something you can grow into. If you buy too little radio, you're going to be disappointed. Hey, if you guys like this video and it helped you out a little bit today, give me a thumbs up, because that'll help the YouTube algorithm and put my video in front of more people that are interested in getting into ham radio. With that, guys, if you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. If I missed anything, if you have other radios you'd like me to talk about, leave that in the comments below as well. Until then, guys, this is Ham Radio for Non-Techies. My name is Scott. My call sign is KI5NPL73.